Okay guys, let's go ahead and take a look at this week's assignment. The very first thing that you're going to notice is that this week's assignment is actually much easier than previous weeks. So let's go ahead and click on it and take a look at what's going to be required of you. Just like before, the very first link you have here is to the PowerPoint that gives you examples and overviews of what you're going to need to be doing this week. As soon as I finish recording and uploading this video, the link to it will be right here. And then down below it you have a list of your tasks. If you are a CM student, your requirements are down at the bottom of the page, so be sure to scroll down all the way down to the bottom of the page to take a look at what it is you're going to be asked to do. So let's go ahead and click on the PowerPoint and take a look at what's required of you. It'll always open down below. You click on it, open it up. So very first slide here is the overview. First thing you're going to notice is that there are only two things required of you. You're going to read a poem called Ode to My Socks, and then you are going to create your own ode. An ode is a specific type of poetry that we're going to talk about here in just a little bit. Your ode is going to have some requirements. You're going to need a minimum of 3 4-line stanzas, and those stanzas are going to need to maintain either an AABB or ABAB rhyme scheme. That's your first option. Or if you don't feel like being that creative, you can create another one-pager similar to what you did last week. You're going to create a one-pager for Ode to My Socks, and the requirements are listed right down here. But there are probably some words that I've mentioned already in this video that you're not super familiar with or that you don't really remember all that well, so let's go ahead and get into an explanation of these things. So, what is an ode? Like it says here, an ode is a type of poetry in which the author praises someone or something that he or she cares for deeply. So, you're going to be creating your own ode, so your ode can be to anything or anyone that you really, really love. So you can write an ode to your boyfriend or your girlfriend, your mom, your dad, your dog, to basketball, hot Cheetos, your cell phone, or just about anything that you really, really care about. As long as it's school appropriate, you're going to be good to go. So, I said that you're going to need to have 3 4-line stanzas. If you need a reminder, a stanza, like it says here, is basically a paragraph in a poem. In other words, each little group of lines found in a poem is called a stanza. You're going to need 3 4-line stanzas. Thing to remember is that you are the poet. You decide where your lines break. Like in this example poem over here to the side. This is a famous poem by William Carlos Williams, but the entire thing is a single sentence. Nevertheless, that single sentence has been broken up into 4 stanzas. Each little stanza is a couplet, 2 lines. Each one of your stanzas is going to be 4 lines, and you're going to need at least 3 of them. So, keep that in mind, but also remember, you break the lines wherever you see fit. Your next requirement is going to be maintaining a specific rhyme scheme. So, when you're dealing with rhyme scheme, you're really only focused on the last line of each, or the last word of each line. So, you're wanting either an AABB or an ABAB rhyme scheme. So let's take a look at an example of each type. Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star is a classic example of a simple AABB rhyme scheme. So like I said, we're looking at just the last word of each line. The first line ends in the word star, so star automatically becomes our A rhyme. The next line ends in the word R. So you ask yourself, does R rhyme with star? And of course it does, so far we have AA. Third line ends in the word high. You ask yourself, does that rhyme with R or star? And of course it does not, so we now have our B rhyme. And then finally, the 4th line ends in the word sky. It rhymes with the word high. So that too is a B rhyme, so we have AABB. Your second option is to go with ABAB. This poem down at the bottom here, this little stanza, is another example of ABAB. So, again, we look at just the last word of the line. The first line is earth, so earth immediately is our A rhyme. Second line ends in the word day. Day does not rhyme with earth, so that becomes our B rhyme. Third line ends in birth. That rhymes with earth, so that's also A. and then the last line ends in way, which does rhyme with day, so that 2 is B. So that's an example of an A-B rhyme scheme. In your own ode, you're going to choose whichever rhyme scheme you want to stick to, AABB or ABAB. Here's your rubric. The rubric is pretty straightforward. It's simple. Each stanza, as long as it has 4 lines in it, is going to be worth 10 points for a maximum of 30 points. Each stanza that maintains the rhyme scheme is going to also be worth 10 points for a maximum of 30. And then the creativity and effort that you put into this assignment will be worth 40 points. If you decide that you do not want to write a poem, you can always create the one-pager. The rubric for the one-pager this week is very similar to the rubric for last week's one-pager. So, ultimately, it's up to you. Everything is pretty straightforward and simple this week. So if you have any questions, just like always, you can email me. I look forward to seeing y'all's work. Thanks.